If you need some ideas for some mountain bike road trips this year, I am here to help. Here's 25 rides to do in 2025. I've been all over the United States and Canada, and when I look at a map, these are the rides that jump out to me. Let's kick off the list down in Florida, where the further south you go, the more north you get. It's the Camp Murphy MTB trails near Jupiter, Florida. I remember this ride so fondly from the 50-state shred, mostly because it was the first time in many, many years that I actually felt comfortable jumping my mountain bike. I'm gonna do this list in kinda sorta chronological order. You got winter, you got spring and fall, kind of the shoulder season, and you've got summer. And if it's good in the winter, there's a good chance it's gonna be awful in the summer, and if it's good in the summer, it's probably bad in the winter. Another Florida favorite for me is Santos in Ocala. The Florida Flatlanders have to get creative when it comes to trails, and the creativity is on full display at Santos. Vortex, Ken's Corners, everything at this place is creative and tons of fun. And with this list, I'm trying to map out some reasonable road trips within the United States and little bits of Canada. Alaska, the Yukon, they're fantastic, but they are a giant, giant drive for anyone. Let's head out west for another fantastic winter ride. It's Mount Lemmon near Tucson, Arizona. The elevation here is pretty high up, so there is possibility of snow and ice, but I've ridden it twice in January, and it was fantastic both times. It's Bug Springs to La Milagrosa, a fantastic shuttle ride, but you're still doing a ton of climbing. It feels like an epic all-day adventure. And there's other trails on Mount Lemmon, but this little package, this ride, it is so good. Tons and tons of fast chunder flow, my favorite style of riding. So I'm trying to do my best on this list to only put down rides that I've actually ridden within the past few years. But of course, there are exceptions. The first ride I hadn't done in 5 years, the 50-state shred, but I still felt it deserved to be on the list. I haven't been to Vancouver, Squamish, or Whistler in way too long. I need to get there, but I'm sure there's other lists showing how great those trails are. Let's pop over to St. George, Utah for the next couple of rides. Zen Trail. I think this is the best pound for pound, mile for mile trail in the world. It's a shorter trail, it's 5 miles, so the best way to do it is to actually get a lap on this other trail called Barrel, which is a fantastic ride as well. You pair them together, you've got a great, great day on the bike. I think most of the Zen comes afterwards, after you've battled through all the cool rock features. And if you want to get a full day of rowdy adventure in, you do Zen in the morning, get some lunch, and then head on over to Grafton for Grafton Mesa. It is on the shorter side, but it is on the amazing side. A double black diamond, straight down, Technar, Chunderflow Fest, one of the best. It's well worth hiking your bike back up a little bit if you bobble on a section so you can just do it all over again. And of course, I am hungry for your suggestions for mountain bike road trips. Let me know in the comments. There's still a few places I have not adventured and explored to. Over in my neck of the woods in Northern California, we have one of the best flow trails in the world at Soquel Demonstration Forest. We just call it Demo, and the trail is just called the Flow Trail. It's in the mountains above Santa Cruz, and it does get pretty chilly in the winter, but as long as it hasn't rained a ton, the winter is the best time to ride it. It's a lot of fun all year round, but it's always a little bit better when there's moisture in the soil. Just not too much. Heading back over to Arizona now, and we're getting into the early spring time frame in Sedona and the Hangover Trail. One of the most diabolical, nasty, crazy, cool, thrilling trails in the world. It's a short one, but it is a great one. If you're looking to get a report card on your technical mountain bike abilities, Hangover is the place to put them to the test. Moab, Utah is also a fantastic shoulder season destination. Crazy hot in the summer, frigid cold in the winter, perfect otherwise. And it's got my favorite loop in the world. It's Captain Ahab. It's only 9 miles. It's only 1,600 feet of climbing, but it is such a treat climbing up, bombing down, the total package if there ever was one. And of course, if we're doing Moab, we have to mention one of the most infamous trails in the world. It's Portal. I know all anyone can ever talk about or think about is the big, giant, deadly cliff face off to the left-hand side, but this trail is so much more than that. I actually think Portal is underhyped with how fun it is and how fast it is, how janky it is. It's the total package. It really is the king of the double black diamonds. And I'm including the Gold Bar Rim single track as a piece of the total package for Portal, not including the other Mag 7 trails so much. If you can find a way to just start your ride at Gold Bar Rim, that is just an amazing stretch of tough tech challenges and just amazing, blissful chunder flow. I will have a link in the description to a map I built just for this video, so you can click around and get the details. You can watch the corresponding video, or you can actually click on my Trail Forks ride log and see how I did that ride that day. And I also have my crazy map of every ride I've ever videoed, and you can click on that and see where I've been everywhere. And a big shout out to Trail Forks. I could not do all these rides and plan all this stuff without it. They actually had a pretty big debacle recently where Strava cut off the API access. I used to record all my rides in Strava and then send that data to Trail Forks. So when Strava cut off the API, all my links on all my videos for Trail Forks ride logs went dead. So I had to kind of go in manually for a little while, and it was just crazy. But Trail Forks actually created a way to automate it where all my links are back, they're live, they're good to go. Strava is dead to me. And now we're moving into the meat of spring. The temps are getting nicer, and it's a great time to head on over to Bentonville, Arkansas, and ride Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve. You could easily spend a month exploring all the trails in Northwest Arkansas and the surrounding region now. It is absolutely crazy. My last trip there, I think I did like 14 videos. Overwhelming to say the least. But start at Kohler, it's great fun. It's basically a mini Disneyland for mountain bikers. You start out the day on Thunderdome, you race your friends for a couple laps, then you explore your way north and you hit rock soft, rock solid, rock salad, dirt therapy. If you're crazy, you drop the hammer. There is a ton of cool trails to explore in Kohler. So I guess you can ride Northwest Arkansas in the summer, but with the heat and the humidity, you're gonna need a lot of help to make it through a ride. And when I need that kind of help, I reach for Element, the fine sponsor of today's video. I spent so many years looking for the perfect electrolyte drink mix that tasted great, didn't have a pound of sugar, kept me fired up through a ride, but didn't mess with my stomach. And finally, I found Element. It checks every single box. The Element thesis is out with sugar and in with salt. They believe that most people, especially active people that get out and sweat a lot, need more salt in their diet, not less, to feel good and perform their best. The Element mission is to restore health through hydration. If your electrolytes are out of whack, you're gonna get cramps, you're gonna get headaches, you're gonna have that general tiredness that we all hate. Just one packet of Element in some water is the best way to give your body the sodium, potassium, and magnesium that it needs. And then the second best way is with one of these sparkling electrolyte water drinks that are absolutely fantastic from Element. Delicious. I really think you're gonna like it if you give it an honest try. And Element has a fantastic refund policy. If you order the product, don't like the product, just email them. They will give you your money back, no questions asked. You're taking no risk on your first taste of Element. And if this is your first taste of Element, use my link, drinkelement.com/BKXC when you put in your order, and you'll get a free 8-pack sample pack so you can test out all the different salty flavors. It's time to get your hydration dialed in with Element. Head on over to drinklmnt.com/BKXC. All right, I can't just pick one from Northwest Arkansas. The other ride that stands out to me as such a massive adventure with massive fun is Mount Nebo, about 2.5 hours from Bentonville or an hour and a half from Little Rock. Amazing views, great trail work, challenging features, blazing downhills, and some tough tech thrown in as well. If I only had one day in Arkansas and I was forced to pick just one ride, this is it. Let's head back east now to Pisgah National Forest in western North Carolina, back to the Chunder Flow epic of my dreams. It's Avery Creek and Bennett Gap. Fast action tech is my favorite style of riding, and Pisgah has plenty of it. There's a lot of climbing on this route. It's like equal parts fun and challenge. I was riding around Thanksgiving, and the trail was still in amazing shape even after the hurricane came through. Shout out to Pisgah area Sorba for keeping these trails wild and rugged, but still running good. This ride also has a very special place in my heart because it was one of the first rides Sarah and I did together. Might have even been our second date. Western North Carolina is jam-packed with so many different amazing rides. There's more trails coming online all the time. And one of the new ones, and one of the biggest surprises for me in 2024, was Ride Rock Creek, specifically the Green Trail, Green River. This thing was hero dirt heroin over and over again. I could ride this thing 10 times in a day. There was also a really good black tech trail called Dark Hollow that was fantastic. There's some jump lines. They are building more and more at Rock Creek, and I love to see it. Let's head a little bit north now, up to the quiet town of Stokesville, Virginia. The perfect name for a screaming 3,300-foot descent off of Reddish Knob. Once again, this is another Chunder Flow epic with the perfect blend of speed and severity. I have a type for sure. Heading back over to Utah now, and one of the biggest surprises of the whole history of the channel was this little town called Richfield and the Pavant Trail System. The trails in Richfield are a grassroots effort, and holy moly, they've got some amazing tech trails, lower spinal tap, and telegraph. Fantastic. I blew up a tire on one of them at some point. Then Carnage is an awesome flow trail. I need to get back to Richfield. Another trail system that has been purpose-built for bikes from the ground up is over in Klamath Falls, Oregon. It's Spence Mountain. I cannot shout this place out enough. I'm going to give it 2 slots on this list because it has 2 distinct days of riding. The south end of the park has a super flow trail called Speed King. It's a 1,000-foot climb, and I highly recommend lapping it for as many times as you can until your legs fall off. It is berms, pumps, rollers, jumps, just super speed, Speed King, love it. Then after you have a day of flow, you head over to the north side and you have a day of some really cool, tough tech. Climb up, hit the Nighthawk Trail, which is like a roller coaster tech, fast but also pretty tough trail. Get to the bottom, climb back up, and do North Ridge, and make sure you put all your body armor on for that one. It is a body and bike breaker, but also just a really intense, fun challenge. And then if you're still in one piece, you climb back up again and do Nighthawk again. It's just that good. So now we're moving more into the summertime options and another absolutely amazing Oregon favorite, Oak Ridge, specifically Lawler and Hardesty. Oak Ridge has all kinds of amazing shuttle options. You could stay there for a week and ride all kinds of great trails, but the number one double shuttle amazing day that you gotta try to figure out is doing Lawler and Hardesty. Oak Ridge is crazy because they are the best trails in the world with the worst corners in the world. You'll be screaming down these trails, this green, just everything's flying past you in the zone like you've never been before, and then here comes a hard right turn that's gonna send you over the cliff and fall down 50 feet. Lawler and Hardesty still have a few of the Oak Ridge okey dokes, as I call them, but many fewer than all the other different trails. Holy moly, if they could get permission to build awesome turns, wall rides, or something in Oak Ridge, it would be over. It would be the best place on earth to ride your bike. Let's head back east for the next one. Well, technically, let's head Midwest for the next one. It's the DTE Energy Trail outside of Ann Arbor, Michigan. I have not ridden this trail in quite a few years, but I am still vouching for the fun factor 100%. I have such great memories from that day. 15 miles of purpose-built single track, tons and tons of fun the whole way through. So we're rounding out the end of the list now, and I have to throw in some of my favorite Northern California classics. You may think I'm biased, but if you actually come out and ride these rides, you will be a believer. First up is the legendary Downieville Downhill. 5,000 feet of descending through flow and chunk and flow and chunk. There's all kinds of different offshoots. If you want to climb up a little more, you can do that. You can head up this way and that way. All kinds of options, but the classic option is pretty dang good. A little bit further north of Downieville is the town of Quincy and Mount Huff. It's a 4,000 foot shuttle or a 4,000 foot climb if it pleases you. Every year there's more and more options being built on Mount Huff, but if it's your first time, I highly suggest going down the Mount Huff Trail from top to bottom, and then it's a shuttle so nice you have to do it twice. Do the toll gate option on your second run. And be careful at the bottom. Heading a little bit south now, down to Lake Tahoe, and one of my all-time favorite rides. All of these rides are my favorites, but this one's really a favorite. It's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, aka Saxon Creek Trail. There is a way to shuttle this ride and cut out most of the climbing, but I highly, highly recommend doing the big old backcountry adventure loop. You get into some amazing, amazing scenery. You get up above 9,000 feet where your lungs are burning and you got to take a break every 10 seconds. It makes that downhill payoff oh so sweet, and that downhill payoff is a very, very sweet one with a great mix, again, of tech and flow. We're getting pretty late in the game now, and I have not forgotten about Canada, some of the best riding of all time. You know it, I know it, and one of my favorites is Martha Creek in Revelstoke, British Columbia. Just another fantastic 5,000 foot shuttle where you're screaming down an alpine forest, going super fast through tech and flow. Just what I love the most. It is superb. And when you make it to the bottom, just keep going straight and you'll run into Lake Revelstoke for a little post-ride dip. And finally, you didn't think I was going to skip over the greatest mountain bike trail system in the world. It's Sentier-du-Moulin outside of Quebec City, Canada. This place rightly deserves 2 slots because you have to spend at least 2 days riding these fantastic trails. Spend the first day on the original mountain working your skills from all the easiest trails up to the hardest trails. Throw yourself at them. Make sure you give it a try. It is so rewarding to take on the triple black diamonds of Sentier-du-Moulin. And then the next day over in the Maelstrom Zone, you do the same thing. You ride as much as you possibly can from easy to hard. And on that side, it gets plenty hard. I know I called Kohler Mountain Bike Preserve mini Disneyland. I'm going to call Sentier-du-Moulin real deal mountain bike Disneyland. Everything there is crazy, it's tough, it is awesome. It is worth getting your passport for. Somehow my voice has survived through the whole thing. Do me a favor, go ride something new, and maybe I'll see you on the trail.